All right. It says we're live. You got to give it a couple seconds. Ground Fog was in here. Man, Ground Fog was here at like lunchtime today, giving us a wave. Michael Hamilton, good evening. How are you? I keep saying good morning. So, and you know, like the funny thing is, Greg, do you have this problem at church? When you go to church, most of the time when you go to church, a lot of times it's Sunday morning, and you always say good morning to everybody. I catch myself even in the afternoon or at night. I want to say good morning to people.
I've done it.
Yeah. So
sometimes they'll say good morning back.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Especially if they're old people, they'll be like, they don't know what time it is either.
Yeah.
So, all right, guys, we've got like 3 or 4 people in here right now. Michael Hamilton, thank you. Guys, I've got Greg New in here, and Shelly's not going to be with us tonight. Keep her friends in your prayers and stuff like that. She's got a few things going on. I'm not going to get in the weeds with it. Also, keep Darren, Hacks for the Homestead, him and Patty. Keep Darren in your prayers. He had been in the hospital with some AFib issues, so hopefully he's doing better. But remember those 2 people for us tonight. But Greg is with us, and we're going to talk about winterizing your bee colonies and how to deal with your bees in the cold weather. I have truth in advertising. I know nothing about bees except for they make some of the most delicious stuff ever. So that's all I know about bees. But we'll get into it in a minute. Guys, don't forget, it's scrolling at the bottom of the screen. Land nav class. Mike Atkins is coming in and going to teach that 2-day land nav class. We've got it at 25% off. It's a smoking deal at 25% off. That is going to be November 8th and 9th, and it's over at Barren River Lake at the state park. Greg, tell us a couple things about land nav, because you and Mike are buddies. He's like the land nav guru, isn't he?
He is. He's went to the. I mean, we've all the guys that were in the Army and an NSF went to pretty advanced courses, but he's been to the advanced course, the long walk course, and he's also a real good teacher. He did it for 20 something years. You know, that's pretty much what we do is teach. He taught in a foreign language as well. So I mean, he's a really good patient teacher, and he really knows his stuff.
Oh yeah, I mean I had all kinds of people tell me at the festival his little 2-part thing was amazing, and they're like, we want to do something longer. So guys, if you want to get in on that, run to the website and jump on there at the 25% off. So get it while the getting's good. It's going to be fun. I'm excited about that. And then plus Brian and Susan are going to be there, and they're going to be running all our comm stuff for us. So, which is going to be pretty nice. We're going to set up a base station. Everybody will have their radios. If they get lost in the park, we can find them and come rescue them and that stuff. But hopefully Mike will do a good enough job that they won't get lost out on the trail. So
hopefully to it, man. Get lost.
Yeah. So that, and hopefully we won't have any injuries or anything like that out there. So another thing also, this Saturday, the 25th, we're having the Homestead meetup. So it's free to come. The only thing we ask is bring a soup or a dessert or something like that. We're going to have soup. The only thing we ask is sign up, run to the website, look at the in-person workshops, sign up for that. Just tell us you're coming. Then that way it helps us plan a little bit on how many tables and chairs we need, stuff like that. So that's going to be fun. I think we got 30. Last time Shelly told me it was like 30 some people going to be there. So it's going to be a nice showing for everybody. So, but that's it. So Greg, tell us, hey, before I forget, tell us the website. And if I knew how to put it up here and put a link, I would put a link to it.
You talking about Desiree's website?
Yes.
Yeah, that's honeybeegoodness.com. And that's where she sells all her lotions, soaps, salves, lip balms, all that good stuff.
Well, and I will put, if I remember it, I will put a link to it here in just a minute. So, but yeah, she's got all that. But Greg, tell us, see, if we got people that don't know who you are, tell us your backstory and how you got into the bee guy.
Okay. Well, I was in the Army for about 25 years, and I got out. I had been dabbling in sustainable living, homesteady stuff, gardening, all kind of stuff like that, all through since I was a kid. I worked on, two of my best friends had farms, so I've always been attached to it and loved it. When I got out of the Army, I continued to contract, but we bought a place out here in Tennessee and started living the dream, and funny thing is, when I was a young child, I got stung by something. Don't know what it was, swole up. They took me to the doctor and they're like, "Oh, you're allergic to honeybees." And so all my military career, I was wearing a allergic to honeybees dog tag. And the year before I was going to retire, like it was summertime, and she said, I want to have bees next year when you retire." And I was like, man, she's already trying to get rid of me. I ain't even our paperwork put in. But it turns out I wasn't allergic to bees. And so that was
she had a whole new life insurance policy and everything, right? Didn't she?
I always tell that joke when she's not within arm's reach of me. But it's true, though. And she'll confirm it. So that was in 2011. 2012, I retired, but 2011, we got bees. And we started out with one hive, which is a mistake. We made a lot of mistakes early on. And so then we just poured a lot of effort into it and study, and made some friends that were beekeepers. And so contracting along, and my sister contacts me about going to this preparedness event a couple of years, about 8 years ago. And then I really enjoyed it. And the guy there was like, "Hey, I really need a beekeeper to come teach bees." And I was like, "I'm your guy." And so for about 6 years, I've been teaching bees out there. And through that, I've gone to a couple your event, Jeff's event up in Ohio, and different places, and mentor people and teach bees, because I love dealing with bees.
Yeah. Well, I've been saying for the last, I don't know, 4 years, I always tell my wife, I'm like, we're getting bees this year. And then something happens, something gets in the way, and it's like, we didn't get bees this year. So I'm really wanting to do it this year, but it'll probably be another year or two before I do it. It's just, there's so many irons in the fire, and I'm like, I've got to do this thing. And I want them. I think it'd be cool as all get out to have them. How many, because didn't you have like 50 some hives at once or something?
We did. We downscaled this last year to 20 to 2 apiaries. We had 4 apiaries, and we had, between 10 to 14 hives per apiary, depending on, because bees are fluctuant. You'll lose a colony here and lose a colony there, then you'll make 2 over here. But yeah, we had around 50. We're around.
Wow. Hey guys, if you got any questions about it, Greg's gonna kind of do some winterizing stuff, because we're getting that time of year. You really need to start, preparing for the winter time for your bees. So if you've got questions, stick them in the chat, and we'll start answering them as we go along. So, well, how many? If you've got 50 hives, Greg, what kind of time were you putting in on that?
Too much. You're getting out of hobby into more of a business when you've got that many bees. During nectar flow in the spring, and then again in the fall, you have to be in each hive no more than every 2 weeks to keep them from swarming or making a mess. The rest of the year, during the winter time or during the dry part of the summer, you're only in there about once a month. But during those, month and a half or 2 months in the spring, and month and a half in the end of the year, and then pulling off all that honey and bottling it and hauling it all over the place to sell, which is not hard to do. It was a lot. So we just made the determination that was too many.
Yeah. Well, how many gallons would you get off those hives, you think?
I think most we got was 46 gallons. If Desiree was here, she would know specifically. she deals with the numbers and the money. I deal with the bees. 40 something, almost 50.
Really? That's a good amount of honey right there.
Yeah, and when you're putting it in pint jars, that comes up to quite a few.
Yeah, that's a lot of time, processing the honey, doing it and filling the pint jars and everything else. How long? How many hours do you think you spent doing that? I mean, I could see. I mean, I've watched videos of guys doing it. I'm like, man, that takes some time.
Well, we do it a little more time consuming than a lot of people do. We've refined our method. When we used to do it, it was terrible. We would all during the year we would pull a frame here and a frame there and put it in the freezer and wait till the end of the year and sling it all at the same time. We've gotten to the point where now we wait till just prior to the fall nectar flow and we pull it all off. But we put frame by frame. A lot of people put what they call a scent board or whatever and run all the bees out of their honey super and then just take the whole honey super and sling it. But I don't like to take honey that's not fully cured and capped, because if you get too much that's not fully cured and capped, then you get crystallization or it can sour on you or all kind of things. And to me, quality product is most important. So we go frame by frame. So probably, man, when we had 46 hives, we could work a bee yard a day, and then we would take all that honey back and had to store it in the shop so the bees couldn't get to it. And then when we got 4 days of that, hauling it back there, and then it would be a late, because you can't do it in the daytime because you can't really open your windows and all that. So it would usually take us 2 nights to sling it, 2 nights of like 4 or 5 hours to get it all and bottled and filtered.
Wow. It does. That sounds like a lot of work. It's a labor of love sometimes, isn't it?
It is. It's really sweet work.
I would say so. Now, how sticky is it? I absolutely despise having my hands sticky. Like, I mean, like if I'm eating ribs or something sweet like that, as soon as I'm done, I have to go wash my hands because I despise it. Are you just? I mean, how sticky is it in the cleanup on it?
Well, the cleanup is easy. I mean, honey comes out pretty good with water. The cappings, the wax is a little bit, you may have to scrape a little here and there, but we keep a wet rag in there. You're not really touching it so much with your hands. You're touching the frames when they come out of the extractor. They're a little sticky, so your fingers will get it sticky, but we just keep some clean shop rags with some water on them. And as we pull them out and put them back in the boxes, wipe your hands off. And your hot knife, when you're decapping, it gets a little sticky, but it's not anything like in between boxes. You can just wipe it off with that wet rag and you're good. I don't like being all sticky either.
I despise it. I mean, I don't know. I guess that's the only OCD thing I've got. It's like when my hands get sticky, it's like, we got to go wash these things. I'm done for the day. It's like, forget it. So
that one don't bother me as bad as when I'm in the garden really digging into roots and stuff and get wet dirt on my hands and it dries on my hands. And it's I like that less than sticky.
Yeah, it gets all caked up and everything. And you're like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. So, I love working in the garden, but that right there, man, I got to go wash my hands every now and then.
Hey, I'll tell you what's funny. When I'm picking strawberries, if there's any kind of moisture on the berries and on the leaves, I'll go down, I'll start picking berries, and right around my wrist, where my wrist and everything is touching those wet leaves, I get like a little bitty rash. And I guess it's a mild allergy or something to it.
Probably so, but I've heard rumor that you have the plant that you need to take care of that. I think you have comfrey growing on your farm from what I remember.
Oh yeah, I've got comfrey going I've got so much comfrey, but yeah, but now I can eat strawberries, no allergic reaction, anything like that. So I don't know what it is, but yeah, every time I go down there, I get a little bit of like red bumps on my wrist from what I'm picking.
That's like when Desiree picks figs off our fig tree, the white sap, that comes out from the stem of the fig. She gets hands and it breaks her hands out, but the figs don't bother her. So I imagine it's similar.
I guess.
Different.
Hey, Melanie. Melanie's in here. Melanie, can you post the website for Greg's website? What is it again?
honeybeegoodness.com.
Yeah, Melanie, it's honeybeegoodness.com. Melanie knows how to do all that stuff.
The B is just the B is just the letter B. It's like honey, bee, goodness, all one word.
All right. Melanie's good at finding all that stuff. So, all right, coming up, she's searching. What's that, Greg?
Thank you, Melanie.
Yeah. she's amazing. She's like the social media guru. I mean, if y'all are on Facebook, Melanie does like probably 95% of the posting on Facebook. And I mean, she absolutely kills it. And she doesn't get enough credit for doing that, but she is amazing on Facebook. Some of the stuff, I mean, I giggle at some of the stuff. I look at it and I'm like, where in the world did she come up with this? And I'm like, this is hilarious. So there, she got it.
Yep.
All right, guys, if y'all need anything, go by and check out Greg's website and buy some stuff from him. She's telling us to stop it. I bet her face is turning red too. So,
hey, just to be clear, that's not Greg's website. That's definitely Desiree's website.
all right. It's Desiree's website. Greg just does all the grunt work and tries not to get killed.
Yes,
so,
right.
Now, hey, are you allergic to bees now?
I am not. I guess I wasn't, because like the second or third time we worked them, I got stung and she panicked. And so then I knew she really loved me. And then nothing happened.
Well, did she panic because she wasn't going to get a payout, or panicked?
Oh, no, she would have got a payout. I had a lot
She was panicking because her plan didn't work, is what it was.
No, I don't think so. You better watch out. She's going to see you Saturday.
Oh, I know. I'm gonna have to wear like a helmet or something so she doesn't hit me.
That's right.
So, maybe she won't watch this.
She won't. She's upstairs.
All right. Well, see, she's like my wife. My wife doesn't watch this stuff. She doesn't care. She doesn't want to watch me on here. She's like, I get enough of you being married to you and living with you. I don't want to watch you on the internet.
And she probably won't go to bug out camp either.
All right. So I don't know. I don't know if a lot of women will come to bug out camp or not.
Yeah, it might be just a man hobby mostly, but I know we have a lot of females that are interested in prepper camp that do that stuff. So I don't know.
We need to start planning that, guys. We're going to plan a bug out weekend to live out of your bug out bag. Greg and I are headed up to Indianapolis tomorrow to the EMS Expo to check out some new first aid and trauma stuff. So we're going to be up there. So we got a 4-hour ride one way to plan bug out camp. So we're going to have some news when we get back, hopefully, where it'll be a little bit closer and flesh some stuff out this week. So, all right, Greg, you told me the other day that you were going to start doing some stuff. You were going to work some hives or do something like that after I screwed up our plans and you had to change your plans. But topic, how do we start going in? What do we need to do as far as winterizing hives? What do we need to start doing on it? Because I know nothing about it. If I had bees, I'd be like, bees live in the wild. I don't need to do anything.
Right. So we're kind of late into the year. We're into probably the final little bit, which would be your downsize and that. But I've got kind of an order of how you would go through winterization from start to finish, if you want me to go through it.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
because I know nothing about it, and it's been warm, so people aren't thinking, hey, it's getting close to wintertime. I mean, heck, the other day it was almost 80 degrees.
Right. And it was nice today.
Yeah.
So really, there's a couple of subjects in bees that are kind of controversial. Beekeepers are pretty much like preppers. They have their way of doing things, and their way's right and everybody else is wrong, right? But the two major things are treating mites, the varroa mites, which is super important to me, and then feed, whether you feed or don't feed, right? I look at my bees as livestock. My bees produce a product called honey that I love and I love to sell, and it's my networking tool for all my friends. And so I want to maximize honey. So if my bees are going to starve to death in the winter or not do well in the winter so that they come out weak in the spring, then I feed them, right?
Yeah.
So some people are going to automatically say feed. No. So that's just part of it. All right. So from the beginning, you have to decide whether you're going to leave enough honey on them to eat when you make your harvest. I make my harvest in the late summer, right before their last nectar flow, which is goldenrod and ironweed. And I say, I'm either going to harvest real heavy because I want to sell a lot of honey this year, or I'm going to make sure that I leave them enough honey so I don't have to feed them this winter. That's kind of the beginning of the decision for winterizing, right?
Yeah.
So I leave them a full medium super plus whatever they have in the brood box and only take above that. Usually I will not have to feed them in the wintertime. So I make that decision early, like late August, early September. Okay. When I take the honey off and harvest it in late, probably mid-September, what you want to do is you want to learn this technique called hefting. And so what you do is you put your hands on the side of your hive after you've taken all the honey you're going to take out of there, right? And you just kind of tip it a little bit and feel how heavy it is. And that's going to set you in your mind so that in the winter, as the winter goes on all the way through end of February, when most people lose hives due to starvation, you can tip it and tell whether it's real light or it's still got some honey in it, right? Okay. So you want to take your honey off, you want to heft it. About now, I just finished today actually working our last apiary. About now, what you want to do is go in your hives before it gets too cold, before it gets below 60, 65, and you want to take all the empty boxes out. There'll be boxes that they've used and they don't have anything in them. So you'll have honey boxes and you'll have a little bit of brood, and then you'll have some empty boxes. You want to downsize your hive down to probably your 2 deep brood boxes and maybe and your honey super if you can, depending on how big you had it earlier. So you want to downsize them, and then I treat them. I treat them for varroa mite using Formic Pro or one of the other soft non-pesticide treatments for varroa mites, because when bees are going into the winter, if they have a varroa infestation, they will destroy that hive over the winter most of the time. And what you want is a strong hive coming out in the spring, so when the nectar flow starts, they can increase population quickly and gather you more honey.
Yeah.
And if they got bad varroa mites in there, it's going to weaken your hive if it doesn't kill them, and they're going to get a real slow start in the spring, and then you're going to miss your nectar flow, and then you're going to be nursing and playing with this hive all year. So take your honey, heft them, downsize your hives down into a smaller footprint. And then I feed all the way up until we start dropping into the 30s. And in the fall, what you want to do, so when you take their honey, you can feed them what's called 1-to-1 syrup. And all that is 1 pound of sugar and 1 quart of water. You mix it together. There's a variety of different feeder techniques. They have some that use mason jars in the front of the hive or up underneath the cover, which is the best, or tanks. But you feed them so they fill in all the cells they can with just sugar honey is basically what it is. So they have it. When you get to now, like late mid-October to maybe November, beginning of November, you do 2-to-1 feed, which is 2 pounds of sugar, 1 quart of water. Same method. As soon as you start getting into the freezing area, you pull that liquid feed off. Okay. Before November, you also want to go in and make sure you have a queen, and you want to make sure that she is doing her job, laying brood. You know what I mean? That she's healthy. Yeah. Because it's going to be super important again in the spring to have a healthy queen coming out. Hopefully your notes will tell you that she's 2 years old or less, because when they're 3 years old, that's when you want to kind of in the spring give them a hug and make a new queen.
All right.
So let's see. We got our queen. We've pulled her honey off. We've downsized. The last thing I'll say is right before you go into winter, a lot of times you get boxes that get holes in the side, or they're kind of cracks in them or whatever that's going to allow water and wind and stuff to infiltrate. I take those hives out before, while it's still warm enough for me to inspect. So I'll just pull the frames out of one, put it in a better box, and put that box on and take that box back to the shop for repair. That's the time of the year you repair. And then if I have a really weak hive or doesn't have a queen, then I'll combine it with another hive. And the way you do that is you just take the top off both of them, put a piece of newspaper over the hive that's got the queen, the good strong hive, pick your other hive up, set it on top of that one, put a top on it. And in a day or two, they'll all be friends, and you'll have a good strong hive with lots of bees to help keep them warm over the wintertime. And then once I've done all that, then I'm going to take and put either 1/2 inch hardware cloth stapled across the the bottom or put a commercial mouse guard on, because believe it or not, little field mice, just like they do chewing your wiring in your truck or whatever, they'll come up in that hive and go up in there and they'll dig a hole in the comb about that big and build a nest.
Really?
And they'll feed on honey and bees and poop all in your hive and just make it a general mess. So you don't want that. So that's your winterization in a nutshell. From end of November all the way through March, you're going to heft and check your hives. When if the bees are flying, if it's a warm day, you can open the top and just peek in and make sure they have still have honey stores in there. And like I said, February is when most people lose their bees to starvation. So January, you want to make sure you check it sometime in January. If they don't have honey, if they're all the way at the top, because they'll work their way up the hive eating honey. If they're all the way at the top and there's not honey there, you have to either buy commercial fondant from a bee supplier, or you make brick candy, which is just you mix a little bit of water with sugar and put it in your dehydrator till it makes a nice hard brick. And then you just take the top up, set that right on top of the frames and close your top back.
Okay.
And that'll keep them going. And it's not, sugar is not as healthy as honey, but it'll keep them alive until spring, until they can get stuff. Now, look at the picture you had on the winterization thing with all that snow. We don't have, y'all probably don't have a whole lot of that there. No. As you go north, people wrap their hives in tar paper, like, roofing felt, I think you call it. Yeah. They'll staple that around them to kind of insulate them a little bit. And sometimes they'll put an insulation board in underneath the cover. The cautionary note there is you always got to make sure that they can still get airflow through there, out through the cover on the top and out the top.
Now, question, Greg, when you're saying that you're combining and making the hive smaller, are you making that hive smaller for heat retention?
Well, it's got a lot of purposes. One is heat retention. Two is they have accessibility to the honey, because they won't go across empty frames to get more honey. So you put that together and get all them empty frames out of there. And the third one is moths and hive beetles. If there's empty space in the hive, they will occupy that and start destroying and causing problems for your bees. So you want to make sure you drop your hive down, because your population is going to drop a little bit in the wintertime anyway. You want to drop that down so they're good and tight in there to keep the pests out. So warm, honey, and pests.
Okay. And that's kind of what I thought. I mean, just, you consolidate, everybody's in a smaller spot and you got a little more heat on there. And that's what I figured, kind of doing on that.
Yeah, because, they just ball up in the wintertime. They call it the ball, actually, into a spherical shape, and they just flex their muscles. And that's how they maintain a 100-degree, 90 something or 100-degree temperature in there all the time. Yeah. And then the guys in the middle that are nice and warm, they work their way to the outside, and the guys on the outside girls work their way to the inside, and somewhere in that mess in there, they keep the queen nice and warm.
All right. That's interesting how they do that. I'd heard some of that before, that they would keep that with the body heat and stuff like that. Isn't it amazing how God made all this stuff? It's just, I mean, it's unfathomable to me how, God took this and it's like, hey, the bees are going to do this. This is how bees are going to stay warm in the wintertime.
And I'll tell you what, man, bees have got so many things that are so amazing about them that I don't think you could possibly be an atheist beekeeper. If there's an atheist beekeeper out there, they got to be the thickest, hardest headed person in the whole daggum world. They come back from nectar sources and they do wiggle dances and waggle dances, and they use the sun as a straight up in the hive. And so they'll dance at an angle that'll be the angle of which angle from the sun this nectar source is, and how many times they waggle is how far. And then they'll have nectar from that source and they'll share it to the other bees so that when they go out there, they know what they're looking for. I mean, just all kind of just stuff that, there's no way that that's just random. I mean, God is not a God of chaos.
Yeah. And Jason says amen on that. So, yeah, I mean, well, look at it. You're looking at bees can do all this stuff, and they can come back and they can't even talk, and they can communicate. It's like, hey, all the good stuff is right over there and showing you where it's at. And then we've got people that can't find their way into town that are supposedly a lot smarter than the bees are.
Right.
So it's kind of like, are we really that smart, honestly? So
yeah, they're pre-wired with what they need to do to survive, you know, and we're a long ways from that in our modern society, I think.
oh yeah. Well, I mean, it just dumbfounds me. Like, I went into Lowe's today. I had to get an air fitting. I searched through the whole air fittings and everything, and I'm like, maybe there's air fittings somewhere else. So I finally found somebody that worked there. I asked the girl. Of course, she's got blue hair and like a big hog ring in her nose, and I'm like, I need a 3/8 airline adapter. And she looked at me like I asked her to launch the spaceship. And her first thing is she pulled it up on her little phone that Lowe's gives them, and I'm like, never mind. I was like, I'm going to the industrial supply and get it. I was like, I just walked out. I was like, you're not going to help me. So,
right.
And Lord, if I'd asked her, I mean, she might have been able to find a 2x4 maybe in the store, but who knows? So, but yeah, it is. It's, let me see. Michael Hamilton said, Soltex or polystyrene for insulating board.
Right. See, I can say we don't insulate where I live. I know they have that stuff. I have to do this in my classes. A lot of times somebody from Minnesota or whatever will come in and they're like, well, what do you do in the wintertime? And I'm like, well, I can tell you what I do, but what I do ain't going to help you. You know,
Yeah.
When I first got them, I would put straw bales and stuff behind them to the north to try to cut the wind back. And Desiree would insist that we put there's like a plasticized cardboard that slides in under the screen bottom board, you know, and she would insist put that in there because we wanted to make sure that they, you know, we think of them like people, and that's the mistake people make. Because what ended up happening is I got mildew in the hive because they weren't getting enough airflow. And then, you know, people think they got to put too many boxes on them because they're like, well, I like a big house. They probably like a big house, you know, and you put all the stuff on there and then they get, it really does take a little bit of study and getting used to. I tell all my peeps that go to a bee club, you know, find a mentor and just drill them to death with questions and get them to come out there and show you what right looks like.
Oh,
but
yeah.
Everybody that's on here that's from outside of like where you live and where I live, their winterization process will probably be, you know, different.
Yeah. Michael's up in Michigan, so it's going to be a lot different than here.
Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah, Keweenaw.
Yeah.
Whew.
Yeah. Well, hey, now are there better types of bees? I mean, what are bees? They're breeds, then, aren't they?
They call races, but
okay.
that you can go online and look at. They have a chart that'll show all your races, and it tells you all the different characteristics. You know, you have Russians and Carniolans, and you know your Italian is your standard, and then you have regional bees. Like we have the Duck River bee down here, which is an Italian that has crossed with other feral bee colonies. The truth is, if you have a hive and every time your queen needs replaced, you buy another queen of that same race and put her in there, then you can keep a pure hive of some kind of bee that you've chosen a trait for. Because like, yeah, Russian bee works really good up north. In fact, Michael probably will say Carniolan or Russian most likely for his. But the way they breed, I don't know if this is getting one of your rabbit trails, right? So they're what you call polyandrous, whatever. So when a new queen hatches, she goes out to a cruising area. It's called a drone congregation area where a bunch of drones are just flying looking for a date, right?
Yeah.
She'll mate like 8 or 15 of these males and carry their sperm in a organ called a spermatheca in her abdomen for the rest of her life until she's no good. When her sperm runs out, she's done, right?
Yeah.
So when she goes back to your hive and she gets old, one of her eggs is going to be the next queen. And it's a Russian roulette from who she crossed with. Was it an Italian? Was it a Russian? Was it a local? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So races are cool and it's neat and people do it. And some people do spend $100 and something every year or every 2 years and squish their queen and put a new queen in there. But I don't do that. I think it's ridiculous. I let them make their own queen, and I get local stock that's acclimatized to my area.
Yeah.
That's a long answer, but that's
well, that makes sense to do it that way. And then, those bees are climatized to where you live and stuff like that if they've been around for several generations.
right.
So now question on the Russian bees. How many times a year on the Russian bees do you have to put like a fifth of vodka on top of the hive for them?
Yeah, and they're always dancing. I don't know. Kicking their legs.
Let me see. Jason says, I found feral hives that have done better than if I get a package. I've been trying to use those genetics to raise queens. And he's in central Illinois.
Hang on. There. Yeah, I like swarms. The thing you got to remember with swarms or feral bees is there was a problem in the original hive. Either they got too crowded or they had too many beetles or too many mites, and they made a new queen, and the old queen leaves with the swarm. So your queen, after queen will live like 4 or 5, 6 years. I don't know. They'll live a long time, but they'll run out of sperm before they do.
Yeah.
If they run out of sperm, your hive will be filled up with drones, and they're worthless. They're like a dude who watches football and eats potato chips all day, and that's all he does. That's what they do. They mate and they eat, period. And so they'll ruin your hive. They'll ruin your comb. So a swarm is great, but as soon as you get a nectar flow, you ought to keep them tight, make a queen cell, and get rid of that old queen and let them make a new queen. That's what I'd say for that. If you're buying bees, buy local if you can, but even most local people go to Florida and get them. But try not to buy a package. A package is a box of bees that comes in the mail with 3 pounds of bees and a queen that's never been with them bees.
Yeah.
Dumping it into a hive with foundation that's not drawn out, and they got are really behind the power curve to get started. But they're cheap, and that's where I started because I was a dummy because I got told not to, and that's where most people do because they're like, well, that's $120, and it's $200 for a nuke or a nuke N-U-K. I say nuke because I'm from the South.
Yeah.
But a nuke will be like 3 or 4 or 5 frames already drawn out with a queen laying eggs. It has eggs, larva, cat brood, and a bunch of bees that's already rowing the same direction, and it's honey stores. And you buy that and you stick it in a hive, and they're off like a rocket.
Yeah.
So, but they're like $220. So feral bees, get them, replace the queen, and package and nuke. That's the 3 ways you get bees, really.
All right.
Make your own.
So then once everything starts blooming out in the springtime, then you're off to the races then, aren't you?
Correct.
All right.
And that's super important what you just said, because your beekeeper, you need to know what your local nectar flows are and when they are. Okay. Yeah. So for example, mine, first thing in the spring, you get red maple. You hardly even see it, but it's there. And that's the first nectar flow, and that's what they'll build their brood off of. And then after that, then you get the red buds. And then our major nectar flow where you really have to start watching and managing your bees is yellow poplar or tulip poplar.
Okay.
But that's different in Michigan, I guarantee you. I don't even know if they have tulip poplar up there.
Yeah.
And the mountains have sourwood and, other things. So you just kind of gotta get it with some other beekeepers in your area and figure that out.
Yeah. I'm fascinated by bees, and like I've said, I've wanted them for years, and I'm just gonna have to bite the bullet sometime and get you up here and check it out and be like, this is what I want to do. So
I happen to know a guy who has a whole lot of extra hiveware that would probably cut you like the bargain of the century.
Oh yeah. Well, it'll be like when we got into pigs. The way I got into doing pigs, my oldest son, and this has been several years ago, one of the kids he went to school with, one of the dads called me and he's like, Jason, he's like, you want some piglets? And I was like, oh, do tell. And he said, I bought 2 sows from a guy. He said, I was going to finish feeding them out and then butcher them when it got cold. He said, I showed up and there's like 10 piglets running around in this pen. And he's like, I don't want anything to do with these piglets. He's like, if you want a couple, he said, we'll catch them and you can have them for free. So I told Whitney, I was like, hey, you want to get some piglets? And she's like, absolutely not. I don't want to do this right now. And I'm like, okay. So like a day later, she comes home and I'm putting fence up. And she was like, what are you doing? And I was like, we're getting piglets. And she's like, no, I told you we're not. And I'm like, okay, sure. So we ended up getting piglets. So it would be like that. I would come down to your house, bring the bee stuff back and just set it up there. And then she'd be like, I guess we're getting bees.
Exactly. That's the way it works, right?
Yeah.
Because there's nothing better stuff than free stuff.
Yeah. But I mean, realistically, I mean, she would be cool with bees. So I'm going to put them down there by the food forest and let them pollinate and do everything in the food forest. And I think they'd have a heck of a time down there.
I bet they would. Just keep them out of the shade.
Yeah. Well, she would not be near as upset that as when I came home with a whole truckload full of concertina wire one day.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah. So I traded one of my buddies a bunch of 38 special ammo for concertina wire, and I came driving up and literally, I mean, it's mounted up on the truck bed, strapped down and everything. And I pull in, she came down, she goes, what in the hell do you have that for? And I was like, I got it from my buddy Chuck. And Chuck's nickname's Razor Wire Chuck. It's because he's got so much of it. And I was like, I got it from Chuck. And she goes, why? And I'm like, we might need it one day. And she was like, for what? And I was like, don't worry. I was like, we might need it. And she looked at me with her hands on her hips. And she goes, if I come home one day and that stuff is strung out in the front yard, we're going to have problems. And I looked dead at her and I said, you're damn right. We're going to have problems if I have to put this stuff out.
Yeah.
She didn't, she didn't get it. And then I explained it. And she just kind of turned around and went in the house and didn't talk about it anymore.
So did you get it in the rolls or was it just all tangled up and thrown in the trailer?
No, it's in rolls.
Oh, nice. Because I was going to say, if you got it in a big tangled mess, man, you got it.
No, it's all in nice rolls bound together and everything. And I've probably got at least a full pallet of the stuff sitting down here.
Nice. It don't go as far as you think it does.
Oh, I know. That's the thing. I'm like, and he told me, he's like, the farther you stretch it, the less effective it's going to be.
Right.
And I'm like, okay.
If you really want to do triple strand, 2 at the bottom and 1 on top. That's the most effective.
Oh yeah. Now he did, I think he's got 40 some acres at his place. And then he doesn't have all of it fenced, but his perimeter close to the house, he put a double strand on it and it keeps the coyotes out. He's like, I've never had a coyote come on inside that fence. But yeah, he's got 3 sides of his place set up with wire all the way around it.
I can see why you call him Razor Wire Tim.
Yeah. But then he's also got some of that prison wire, that big stuff that's got those big sharp points on it.
Yeah, the razor wire.
Yeah, the actual razor wire. He's got a bunch of that. And he said, man, that stuff is the devil. He said, it doesn't matter what kind of gloves you got, you're going to get cut with it.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't think I need any of that right now, but I know where to get some if I need it.
Right.
So, all right. I think we've covered bees. What else? What can we talk about now to upset Shelly?
Rabbit trails. Well, I think the big thing on the horizon is our bug out bag getaway, but I don't know what else you got going on. I
don't know. I hadn't looked at the news. I know everybody's upset with the government shutdown. Everybody's saying that EBT is going to be shut off and all the SNAP stuff. But other than that, I hadn't really looked at news or anything.
Oh, they're mad because he's remodeling part of the White House. He's demoed one of the false walls or something, and he's paying for it himself. But they're just like a dog chasing their tail. They're just mad because they want to be mad because they want to hate on him, but there's really nothing for him to hate on. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I saw the picture where they had a track hoe tearing some of that stuff out. And I looked real close. I'm like, is this AI generated or not? So, look, Melanie, correct.
That's right, Mel.
She doesn't want to get smacked around.
Yeah, Desiree's not a smacker, but boy, she'll talk smack about it though. Your website, huh? I can hear it already.
So that's all Greg's website. He does
Yeah.
all the work for it too, doesn't he?
Uh-huh.
I don't know. We need to plan, and we got time. We're going to plan the bug out thing. Probably what we'll do. I mean, you got some ideas. I've got some ideas. I think it'd be cool. Pack in, take your bug out bag, what you think you need to live when you're going to go from point A to point B. And, we're going to sleep in it for a night or two. If you got your hammock or your little tent, set it up. Do a little bushcraft stuff. I know one of my buddies would probably come up and show us, a few little bushcraft things. And I figure what we could do is do like little 45-minute to hour sessions of, hey, we're going to show you how to make a, what is it? When they do the stick, a feather stick.
Yeah.
Like make a feather stick and how to do ferro rod, stuff like that.
Poncho hooch. I mean, there's all kind of things you can do.
Yeah.
Yeah. You going to go live while you're out there?
We probably could. I could probably take my Starlink and pull the Starlink out and have good internet access.
That'd be fun.
Yeah. So
have to have some kind of cooking competition there.
Oh yeah. We'll do it. What are we thinking? I'm thinking like March, somewhere around in March, where the weather's still halfway decent, where you're not freezing your butt off, but it's good enough weather we can be in a hoodie and sit around a fire.
Right. Mike also teaches out there in West Virginia. He does cold weather survival training, and he does a brutal class on cold weather. And that he asked me about it one time, and I was like, "Yeah, no, I'll never come to your class anymore, unless somebody's chasing me."
Yeah, I tell you, I personally I would rather do cold weather than hot weather. I hate hot weather.
I'm a South Georgia boy. I'll take the heat.
I don't know. But now there's a point. I don't know. It's kind of a toss up. My personal opinion on the weather is you can always put more clothes on, but there's only so much you can take off without getting arrested.
Yeah, but in the summertime here, man, there's so much water. I can always get in the water and get cool in the shade. I can't get warm if I'm frozen.
I don't know. I think that's one reason now. When I'm deer hunting anymore, I'm done with tree stands. I've got one of the pop-up blinds. I take one of those and one of those little buddy heaters with me.
Wow, you are glamping, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm a wuss. Heck, I've taken a 20-pound cylinder out there with me before.
Oh my gosh, that sounds like those guys that ice fish.
Oh yeah. Well, shoot, those guys have a darn. I mean, they might as well just pull an RV out there and cut a hole in an RV.
Yeah, I'd be scared to be in the truck pulling them things out there. You see those videos every now and then when the ice tries to break out from under them and they're hauling butt.
Yeah. Heck, I've seen some of these guys deer stands. Have you seen these? Like, I saw one guy had stinking satellite TV and everything else out there, and I'm like, what in the world? I'm like,
he meant to stop hunting at that point.
Yeah. I mean, literally, if you're doing that, you're just going out there to watch football and drink beer. And if a deer walks out, you're going to try to shoot it, depending on how many beers you've had.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, archery season's open here. And then we know that the land nav class is scheduled for opening day of gun season in Kentucky. But, you got the whole rest of the week and the next week and everything else to hunt. So it shouldn't be that big a deal. Yeah,
the deer ain't going nowhere. Hey, how many people you got coming to the meetup so far, RSVP?
When Shelly told me, she didn't tell me this week. She told me last week there was 30 some people, I think, coming.
Good.
So we're probably I would say we'll be between 30 and 40 people.
That'll be a blast.
Yeah. Melanie's coming too, I think. She's going to make her way down from Indiana. So she'll get the award for the longest drive. I think she's about 4 hours away.
Yeah, that's definitely a drive.
Well, so, but yeah, we'll have probably between 30 and 40 people there. So, and yeah, Melanie said she's going to be here. So it'll be good. You're bringing sourdough, aren't you? Desiree's bringing sourdough.
Yes, Desiree is. And I think we'll bring some homemade wild source jams or something. We'll either bring our our blueberry jalapeno or passion fruit or something. I don't know. We'll bring something to eat with it.
Sounds good. I know Russell Homestead, Dana, she's bringing, I think, pecan pie.
Yeah, I think Deborah's bringing a dessert too. I don't know if she knows that yet.
You're going to tell her here in a little bit?
I'll tell her when I get back from Indiana.
Yeah.
All
like,
day.
hey, by the way, you'll call her Friday when we're headed home, won't you?
That's right, because she'll need time.
Hey, the funniest story about pecan pie, my wife, the last fest, not this last festival, but the festival before it, we had everybody down at the house because it was in the fall, and William Bond was here, and I asked William, I'm like, hey, what kind of pie do you like? And he's like, I absolutely love pecan pie. And I was like, cool. I was like, I'll have Whitney make you a pecan pie you can take home. And he's like, all right, cool. So it was sitting down here in the refrigerator Monday after the festival. He came down Monday. We hung out for a while, and he forgot his pie, and it's sitting in the refrigerator in the shop. He's like an hour away, and I texted him. I'm like, dude, you forgot your pie. And he's like, oh, man. He's like, I can't believe I forgot that. So then like 20 minutes later, I was like, he's not coming back. I'm going to eat part of it. So I took a picture of it of me eating a pie. And he was like, you're a jerk for eating my pie. I was like, that's what you get when you leave the thing here. I was like, I'm going to enjoy it. So.
Can't let pecan pie go to waste.
Yeah. So, I mean, the dessert does not get wasted around here. So. My wife Whitney fixed chocolate chip M&M cookies the other night from scratch. And I'm like, these things are good.
That does sound good.
I'm probably going to hit one of those. I hadn't eaten dinner yet. She fixed chili tonight. So I'm probably going to eat some chili here in a little while.
We've had chili. We had chili a couple of times. We had some for us, and then she made some for a guy whose wife's in the hospital last night, and we had chili again. So I'm about done with chili for a couple of days.
I can imagine. Michael Hamilton's got too many apples to pick. Michael, thanks for jumping in here. Greg, you got anything else? I think we covered bees, and we stayed on Shelly's good side because we didn't talk about anything too weird.
Yeah, no, I think we covered winterization pretty good for this area. Just get a mentor, go to the club, read a book, call me and ask me. All
right. That will work. Guys, I appreciate it. If y'all need anything, shoot me an email and I can get you a hold of Greg. And if you got questions about that. But guys, I appreciate it. And Greg and I will be in Indianapolis, but we plan on doing a live Friday morning before we go in. So we'll do clickbait and coffee, and you'll get your fill of Greg this week. So, because that place, it's weird. Like the expo doesn't open till 11 o'clock. I'm like, dude, we got all kinds of time to do a live and everything. So we'll do that. But guys, I appreciate it, and we'll see y'all Friday morning. See y'all.
See y'all.